Trump just signed an executive order to expand school choice, which sounds nice, right? Except what it really means is taking money from public schools to fund private schools with vouchers. This particular executive order includes several things that are set to be implemented within 60 to 90 days, so this is not immediate. But it will allow states to use federal K-12 funding for school vouchers and tells a bunch of departments to find more money for vouchers. Public schools are funded through a mix of federal, state, and local sources. And normally, if a student leaves public school for a private school, the public school still keeps the state and local funding for that family. And many costs in a school are fixed costs, like teacher salaries or building maintenance or utilities. And they don't change a lot when a few students leave. With vouchers, the tax dollars that were intended for the public school follow the student to fund a private school, and that reduces the funding for the public school while still leaving it with the same expenses. Meanwhile, let's zoom out. They also wanted to fund the Department of Education, which would remove the funding for things like Title I grants for low-income schools, special education funding through IDEA, and civil rights enforcement. Granted, no bill is moving that would make that happen, but they usually talk about it in terms of like, we'll give the power to the states, which we've seen how well that goes. But they also wanted to fund schools that teach history that isn't whitewashed, or acknowledge trans students as human beings. And let's go back to the vouchers thing, okay? Private schools do not have to follow IDEA. They are not subject to the same transparency, oversight, or legal requirements that public schools have to follow. Vouchers just don't help most kids. Vouchers don't typically cover all of private school tuition. Private schools are also typically farther away from students than their neighborhood public school, and vouchers don't cover transportation. They're not sending school buses out to these students, and private schools are not required to offer free meals. So this school choice thing doesn't even work. And some studies have found no significant improvement in academic performance, and others have even seen negative impacts on student performance. They're always promising that competition will improve education, and that has not materialized. Studies are showing us that low-income students aren't even the ones using vouchers. Voters in Colorado, Kentucky, and Nebraska rejected vouchers in November. So just overall, this is just not about helping families. This is not about educational freedom or whatever they call it. We can be sure of that based on the other executive orders coming out. This administration just wants to defund public school until it collapses. So get you to your local school boards, pay attention to what your state is doing. Texas, for example, you need to be calling your reps about this right now. Don't let them gaslight you about vouchers. That's the bottom line.